think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Well, here we are on part 2 of Cars in Context. Welcome to another one of our wonderful little segments we have here at the Detroit Auto Show. You know, in part 1, we took you about halfway through the show to show you what is going on in the industry, but we weren't following all the headlines and all the other journalists, Chris.
No, never
We're
knew.
here with Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com, and I'm John Clor, your host at carsincontext.com. And don't forget to follow us, Cars in Context TV on YouTube. The Detroit Auto Show was so big we couldn't bring it to you in one episode of Cars in Context. We're back now with the rest of the story, the rest of the show, if you will. We're starting here in the Chrysler stand, and one of Chris's favorite cars, a very important car to Chrysler, Chris. You know, we're talking about the rebirth of Chrysler. You got to have a popular small car in America today.
Unfortunately, they don't. No, but it's true.
So we're sitting here right next to the Fiat. You know, when the Fiat 500 came out and Chrysler was touting it as their salvation, and it hit the streets. Folks, I was not a big fan of the looks of this car, but Chris, look what they did. They added a four-door version.
And gave it a white roof, just like a Mini.
It looks like a Mini.
It does.
So bottom line is, Chris, what is the deal now? Why, if
The
you want a
same
small
thing-
car, why do you have a big
This is the
Fiat?
same thing that Mini did with the Clubman, but
Okay.
the Mini offers all-wheel drive for the Clubman.
Right.
This, however, is a 1.4 liter with about 138, 140 horsepower.
So it's the same powertrain as in the two-door.
But a little more torque.
Okay.
6-speed manual or an automatic transmission. It's got room for a small family, or if you're a young couple, you want to drag your friends around, all that sort of stuff, and your stuff. It's a very good utility vehicle without being an SUV.
Right.
The problem it may have is it may be a little polarizing in its styling, a little European for people.
Yeah, very much
But
so.
I think, quite honestly, that this could catch on if it's promoted and marketed properly and priced well.
Well, this car, folks, is going up against the big ones, the Corollas and the Focus, and everybody's got a stylish small compact.
But they can't go head to head with them. They've got to go obliquely.
Yeah, because this car, smaller, a little more funky.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not the same
Useful but stylish.
Yeah, so you've got some of the utility, you got the fuel economy, these get great mileage, but if you want that something that offbeat, different, a small subcompact, this is where you're going now. More room, more kicking room, a little more utility than the little two-door model, which really was kind of tight for a guy my size.
A lot of things are, but anyway.
He still loves me. All right, let's keep walking through this. You know, we got a cool little Fiat Abarth there. Why don't you show? They actually have a sport model in the two-door. Let's take a look at that, Chris.
Absolutely.
Well, not every Fiat 500 is created equal. Now we can see the little Abarth convertible. You know, the Abarth is their sport brand. You know, when you want to get some excitement, you always build a sport model. Well, this one, Chris,
Well, we have the Fiesta ST.
That's right.
This is their version of that vehicle.
Okay, we showed you that earlier in part 1.
But a 3-door instead of a 5-door.
I think this thing, now this is a flat color. If you guys look at it real close, it's not the shiny metallic. It's actually got that fat matte finish. This is not a car you can buy right now, Chris. This is a concept vehicle.
This is something that they're trying to gauge the reaction to, and if they get enough interest in it, they'll do it.
You know, much like the Fiesta ST that we talked about, a small subcompact with a turbo. This baby's got a little turbo, 160 horsepower. So you've got the extra power, the different looks, the special wheels. Suspension tuning, I bet, with Abarth is going to be there.
And this is the car that the guy can buy without feeling like he's, you know, constantly listening to J-Lo and going to chick flicks.
So you're not going to be Jenny in the hood? With
No,
this?
not at all.
This thing is going to be for a whole different customer. Again, chances to get people into their subcompacts. Now, they do have the compact Dart across over his shoulders. Dart's not selling well, folks.
About 25,000 through 2012,
Okay.
which is really not what they expected. They're saying that they think it's too European and has been sold as too European of a vehicle. I think they're absolutely wrong, that they needed to build up the fact that it's built on an Alfa Romeo.
Sure.
And start building up towards Alfa Romeo, which they want to launch in the U.S.
Why hide it?
But they offered too many combinations, too many engine and transmission combinations, too many interior combinations. They needed to make it simple. It confused people.
Come out the
If
way.
they make it more simple, they get people in it, they start telling people this is global, it's performance.
Right.
It's what you need today with the mileage and the performance you need, and the utility. That car's huge on the inside.
Yeah.
And it'll fly off the shelves.
It's a real critical part that Chrysler's not talking a lot about, but this is as their subcompact being the Fiat and their compact being the Dot, which is built off the Alpha. They really need these cars to start taking off. So part of it, I agree. Marketing, they use the Dart heritage rather than the fact that it's an Alpha underneath, and then here they're using all the European heritage rather than the fact that you can get a small car that's been around Europe for a long time.
With great performance, good fuel economy.
A little bit of marketing.
I know you hate it. I know you hate it.
I'm having a hard time, folks, getting
Join
used
the
to this
21st
stuff.
century, John, please.
Okay. To me, it's not as stylish. To me, it's a little funky, frumpy thing. If that floats your boat, then go ahead and do it. But for me, I prefer something really hot. In fact, speaking of hot, let's go over here and check out this brand new Viper. Oh my goodness. Okay, speaking of hot, we're at the Detroit Auto Show. Of course, the news had always been about Corvette, but there are a lot of other hot supercars here. Chris, come on. I mean, they're talking about recipe red, hot-looking sheet metal,
V10.
Huge engine, V10, performance that's
Sheet metal.
ungodly.
It's plastic.
That's right.
It's made out of composites.
It looks like a lot about like a Ferrari Corvette.
Well, there's a lot of Ferrari in it. There's a lot of Ferrari
But
suppliers
this, of
working on
course,
this
is a
car.
brand new Dodge Viper. There's more to the show than just Corvette. Why
Absolutely.
does this car not get the same kind of attention?
It's already been on the covers of the magazines. Now it's Corvette's turn.
This is the dangers, folks, of what you do, what they call pre-launch.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they give certain car buff books the opportunity to have their hot car, and then they feel they have the media space all by themselves. What happens? Corvette steals the show here in Detroit. But another hot car, of course, SRT has got their race-ready version. Don't forget that no matter what you hear about fuel economy,
You have to have performance to get fuel economy.
Performance
No
and-
way around it.
and
Efficiency. To go fast, you have to be efficient.
you learn it here.
Absolutely.
And remember our show about when we talked about what you learn in a Halo car, what a Halo car does for a company, what you learn about performance is transferred to the little small cars. It's so true, and that's why Chrysler has the thing on display. This is your dream car when you come down to the auto show. Chris, let's go over and see what happened with Truck of the Year.
Absolutely.
Well, we know what the Car and the Truck of the Year awards mean for Detroit. It means it's really important for somebody to get all the headlines. And the Detroit, what really shocked a lot of people, Chris, last year we had import makers win both Car and Truck of the Year.
Right.
This year we have domestic makers. And folks, it may be a surprise to many, but the Dodge Ram 1500 won Truck of the Year.
No surprise.
Pretty much, a lot of people thought it was going to happen. Chevy kind of showed their trucks late to the party. Their next year models. Ford just had a surprise. We'll have a surprise for you later in the show about that model. But this baby, let's face it, different kind of suspensions. They use the coil spring suspensions. They have
Air suspension.
air
as well.
suspension. Very, very important difference between the way the truck rides. Its payload has always been tough. These are real 2x4s, folks. I thought they were balsa wood. Chris, this is kind of innovative.
The Ram box. Yeah.
Put the Ram box.
The only place they haven't looked for Jimmy Hoffa.
She's probably in there. No, let me see. No. But it's a cool place that no other truck maker has this kind of place. Put storage. You can lock it. It stays out of the weather.
You can fill it with ice. You can put drinks in here and use it for tailgate parties. Honest to God,
Yeah, he's serious.
There is a plug here. You pull out to drain it.
Could be your coolers. So these kinds of things made the Ram. And plus the new interiors. Their
New interior
powertrains.
is very nice.
Yeah,
Powertrains. The Pentastar V6.
Don't
wonderful
forget,
motor.
fuel efficiency and power is what people buy their trucks for. And this truck had both. The North American Truck of the Year this year at the Detroit Auto Show is right now. This is a 4x4 model with the Ram, the Bighorn. But if you buy a 1500 Ram, you get a lot of truck for the dollar.
Absolutely.
One more thing to see here at the Chrysler stand, and that's what's going on at Jeep. They had a new Grand Cherokee. Chris, the news there too about Jeep is that they're going to China, and they're going to. The fact is they're popular as a brand in China. The question is, will they sell there?
Oh yes, they will.
Bottom line too for us in Detroit, if you go down Jefferson Avenue at North Jefferson Assembly, we built a Grand Cherokee. We have all brand new Grand Cherokee.
And that Grand Cherokee that you see over there with all the improvements that have been made to it is the underpinning for the Maserati Kubang.
That's
Well, actually,
right.
they're going to change it to Levante, I think. They used to call it the Kubang.
Because
what the hell do I know? And so they had to make a lot of improvements to that car to make it to support a Maserati. Well, they're baked into that vehicle.
So you're actually buying a little bit of a Maserati with your new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Big news there is going to be the diesel powertrain. Folks that always wanted a diesel in your Jeep, with an extended range gas tank, you could get all but 800 miles on a tank
Darn
of gas.
close, yeah.
So those kinds of big news out of Chrysler is what really the surprise, I think, of the auto industry resurgence has been Chrysler. A lot of people said it should have been let go. They didn't have any product. It wasn't going to be able to be resuscitated. And what happens? They win Truck of the Year. They got some great new products. Pretty amazing story, really, when it comes down to the Detroit auto industry. But Chris, there's the Detroit auto industry, and there's our arch nemesis. The largest now automaker in the world is not Volkswagen, it's not General Motors, it's Toyota. So we're going to have to go over to the Toyota stand and see what all the big news is over there. Well, we're over here at the Toyota stand. You know, there's a lot of news being made here every year in Detroit. Toyota saves its big guns for Detroit show. They want to show the world that they deserve to be the #1 car maker. And the headlines coming out of the auto show is that they passed General Motors this year to become the #1 automaker in the world. And I know Volkswagen, which we'll talk about in a second, wants to be #1 in the world. Toyota is right now #1 in the world, and look what they've done for the U.S. market, Chris. We talked about large sedans, and we talked about the Impala, and we talked about the Kia. Now, a brand new Avalon.
Yes, very similar car to the Impala.
Right, in size, I mean, it's huge.
In size, but also in styling. There's a lot that's very similar between the two, the flowing back and the roof line.
Do you see some BMW in this car?
Of course, you're going to see BMW. It's the bangle butt that
That's what they call it.
everybody talked about.
And folks, this has been no surprise. If you follow the Japanese car industry over the years, they've always copied proven designs rather than to create their own, because it's much safer to take something
But
like
now,
that.
this car was designed, it was styled in the U.S., it was engineered in the U.S., and it's being built in the U.S. Money goes back to
As they try to tell you during their Tundra pulling the Challenger commercials, they're an American company, even though all the money is shipped to Japan.
Exactly.
But thank you. This thing, a limited version plus a hybrid, Chris.
Yeah, well, that's important because they're going to be the only one in the full-size market with
a hybrid.
And they're selling a livery version of the Avalon, so that all those town cars that used to take people around
Very
now
important.
going to be Avalons.
And folks, in case you think, well, what does the other domestic makers? We had the Buicks, we had Cadillacs, you've got the Impala. At Ford, this is really a Taurus competitor.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, they don't have an SHO high output, the Avalon. They should maybe.
Well, they're working on it.
Yeah, okay. But speaking of the cars from Toyota that we know you like, over here we find our Prius C. Now, Chris, a lot of people say that the Prius is the official car of Grosse Pointe. I wouldn't say a thing like that, but we see a lot of these cars around.
Okay, make it Troy.
Why the C? Why is this one your favorite of all the Prius family?
Because unlike the other Priuses, which they're fine, I mean, they do their job well, but this one's fun to drive. You enjoy driving this car.
Which is really a change, because one of the knocks against the Prius and really the Honda Insight, these cars were really, they're electric appliances.
Absolutely.
They didn't feel, they had no fun to drive quotient. So when everybody else came up with their small electric cars, they just had to have some kind of personality. Now the Prius does have a personality, albeit I must say,
Not much of one, but it's an accountant.
Its reputation says something about the people that drive them, and they're
Yes,
I'm better than you.
Watch me as I do good.
Yeah, I'm doing good for the planet.
Yes.
Folks, don't buy a Prius for that reason.
Trust me, God didn't wake up this morning and go, cars? I didn't see that happening.
That's right. He had this figured out before.
Exactly.
You buy a Prius for the fuel economy. You don't buy it because you want to be cooler than your neighbor because you're doing something to save the planet. I don't think one car is going to save the planet.
No.
I'm not really sure that Mother Nature needs any saving.
No.
No, we're like a gnat.
There's a reason they
yeah,
call
we've been
these
around
things,
a little bit while.
they call it
But
the
let's go
pious.
check out the pious. Let's go check out the other big news from
The
Toyota.
real important news,
This
the
is
most
really
important car for
and,
Toyota.
And
Yeah.
for me to see styling like that on it, let's go check this out.
Absolutely.
Well, we told you we'd find something really super interesting beyond the Toyota bread and butter products like the Prius and their big sedans. Now, Chris, we got to put this one in context for everyone. This is the Furia concept, and why is this so important, and why is everybody whispering and talking about it?
Because of the name that precedes Furia, Corolla.
Oh.
This is the most important car for Toyota.
Long been the world's best-selling car.
Absolutely.
Their nameplate, for years and years, they were selling buku numbers of these. But what happened to them is they stayed so vanilla, and they looked the same for so many years, with just what we'd call evolutionary changes, right?
Yeah, boy, if even that, yeah.
So what happened was, in fact, they used to say that an oxymoron was a Corolla S.
Oh God, yeah.
So what happened is they said, well, we got passed by the Ford Focus. The Ford Focus became the best-selling compact on
But
the
did
planet.
you ever think you'd see a nose like that on a Corolla?
I never thought I'd see lines like that on any kind of Toyota, let alone the Corolla, which had always been the...
Well, Akio Toyota realized that their cars are boring. He even told his people, our cars are boring.
Wakudoki?
Akio Toyota.
No, Wakudoki is what he called, he wanted the...
Wakudoki?
that means built with emotion, and he wanted all his cars to have Wakidoki. Waki Doki Doki.
It sounds like
I
a
know
cartoon character.
it's not, but it's true. So that's what he tried to build in some of this passion, some lines, some style into a Toyota products that have been known for their vanilla,
And
copycat scent.
don't expect the huge wheels and tires and the carbon fiber detailing on it and the carbon fiber rear wing, but that shape,
Folks,
that nose.
we're going to do an on-air bet. I don't think they're going to actually come up with a production car that looks very much close to that, but you think it's going to look like that, folks. This is the argument that's going on with journalists at the auto show. Would they really build something this daring for their absolute #1 selling car? I'm not sure.
Yes, I won. I talked to the designer.
Oh, see, he cheats. But we're really going to have to watch the marketplace to see if young buyers coming in want this much style, or would they prefer something that's
I would say
less...
well, yeah, they do. The Hyundai Elantra is
Yeah.
very much in this form, even more so. So yeah, they want that style, but they didn't want to get rid of to alienate their older customer, their current
Right.
customer.
Right.
So they had to walk a fine line. We'll see if they walked it or fell off.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially for the guys that are Ford Focus fans, to make sure they can stay ahead of this little baby in the compact pack. Now, we've got even more to see, so keep following us here at the Detroit Auto Show. Okay, we're here at the Volkswagen stand here at the Detroit Auto Show. Chris, a lot of important cars, a lot of people...
One of the most important cars
Yeah,
here.
but people aren't talking about the journalists, it's not the big headlines.
You don't want to be seen as talking about utilities. Utilities are bad.
Yeah.
They're not green.
Right.
Well, in this case, they're blue. The cross blue.
The cross blue.
This is Volkswagen's MQB structure,
Okay.
which allows you to build just about anything front-wheel drive on it.
Going to be the platform.
This is going to be built in the plant with the Passat down south.
Okay,
It is going to be right up against the Ford Explorer
okay.
and the Chevy Traverse. And let me tell you, they produce this, and anything approaching this, they're going to sell it. Every one of them they possibly can. It's below the Touareg that we talked about earlier.
We're on cars in a heartbeat with
In a
that.
heartbeat with that. And this vehicle, though they're showing it as a hybrid here, and they're saying, well, we're not sure if we're going to do a hybrid. They will eventually, in time. They just haven't admitted it yet. Sort of like a 12-step program. This car is important for them because this is where the market is going.
Right.
This is where the volume is. This is where the money is.
Right. We've been telling you folks that even though the other cars are making the headlines, these utilities are going to be where the market's going, and it's for Chris's money. And I agree with you. This is an all-new platform, new powertrains, especially
Yes.
with this hybrid powertrain. The kind of car that Volkswagen, when we talked about Toyota passing General Motors as the #1 car maker, this is what Volkswagen is banking
They
on.
have to build this car if they want to hit 800,000 units by 2018, as
Right.
they said.
Right.
They can't not do it.
And it can't just be in sedans, and
No.
it's got to be this car. So a lot is riding on this car, and in the context of what's important at the show, it may not be getting all the headlines,
But it's certainly getting all the attention. Everybody's been over here.
you noticed that some of the, especially the European press, is all over this car, and it's really one of the reasons why it's so important for Volkswagen to take over world dominance of the automotive market.
Didn't we do that once before?
No, that was in World War II. We'll try it again, but let's go. There's even more cool stuff coming out of Germany over at the BMW
Absolutely,
stand.
let's
Check
go.
it out. Well, now we're at the BMW stand, and Chris, you know, the Germans made a lot of noise, not just with that VW, but they had the new E-Series over at Mercedes-Benz. That was big news. You know, Audi, you were talking about utilities.
They're making a performance utility.
Now, and that, let's face it, when it comes to German engineering, people love their performance cars. But this car here, of all the German entries, is the one I think was going to get the most headlines, the most notoriety, because everybody loves the BMW 3 Series. But now, Chris, it's not a 3
4
Series.
Series.
What
Yes.
happened?
Every two-door is now a even number,
Okay.
unless it's the 6 Series Grand Coupe, which has got 4 doors. I get confused. Anyway, before I have a stroke, this would have been the 3 Series
Right,
Coupe.
the
Now
new
it's
3
the
Series.
4 Series Coupe.
Okay,
The new 4 Series.
the new styling on this
new
car.
styling.
Right.
New vent on
As
the
you
side.
can see, everyone
and
is
very
very
derivative.
interested in it.
Very derivative
It's
of the 3 Series sedan.
evolutionary style, folks, but on top of the evolutionary style, it's got a lot of new SKUs. This thing's looking really aggressive. This is the new sign: German performance, German engineering. The thing's higher
German
looking.
price tag.
Yeah, and you're going to pay when you drive in the BMW or the Benz or the Audi. Personally, I like an Innie. You like the Audi. But let's go check out another car of the year was the Tesla, and we're going to see the real North American car of the year, built by a domestic maker, none other than Cadillac.
Yes, yes.
Well, when we're talking about cars of the year, of course, everybody at the auto show talks about the North American car of the year, always announced here on the first day of press days, which was yesterday.
Yep.
But you know what? The car of the year lasts all year long, and this was the car of the year that kind of shook the world by its foundation when it was named by the Buff Books as the car of the year, because it's not a car that you really well know. The Tesla name is only known by you history buffs who know that Tesla invented alternating current instead of direct current by Thomas Edison.
Right.
Bottom line is, this little startup out on the West Coast, thanks to your tax dollars at work,
And money from Daimler and Toyota.
and a lot of big
And the federal government.
and throwing in their dollars, they're trying to really make an electric car that looks like a nice looking premium electric car. And of course, you see with the, what did you say? They're not gull wing doors.
They're Falcon doors.
Yeah, they're Falcon doors. But the Tesla was named Car of the Year by the Buff Books because it really kind of set the stage for, if electric cars sell, they're going to have to look something like that.
Yeah, they have to be different. They got to be more normal.
Yeah. Well, give us the bad news, Chris. The price on a Tesla electric car is unobtainium,
Right now, they will have a much more affordable one in the future.
which I always say.
But of course, they always say that. But
Yeah.
it's a wonderful car in that it is the right size. It's faster than an M5
Yep.
BMW.
But still six figures,
But you're
folks.
still under 300 miles on a charge.
Yeah.
Realistically.
And for $100,000, invest it in your kid's college education. Now let's go over to the real car of the year over here at the Cadillac stand.
Absolutely.
Okay, Chris, we're over here in the Cadillac stand. Cadillac making huge headlines. Car of the year with their little absolutely hot sports
ATS.
and the ATS. The
Killer car.
It's
Killer
really
car.
So we come over to see the ATS. Wait a minute. The ATS, Chris,
Isn't here.
they moved the ATS out, the little sports sedan. That looks like a sports something, but it's the ELR,
The ELR. Yes.
the Electric Light Orchestra.
No. It's a Chevy Volt with a Cadillac body and
Can
interior.
you imagine this, folks? They took a Cadillac, they took that Chevy Volt, which you saw earlier, and they used that technology, that platform, to build a premium electric car.
Standard range vehicle, yes.
Now, we talked about Tesla, a six-figure electric car. What are we looking at here? 60, 70,
My
$80,000?
guess is that this is going to be in the 50, 60 price range, maybe 40.
So now you people that had looked at the Chevy Volt and said, you know what, I'm not going to pay $30,000 for an electric car. Now you're buying a Cadillac. So $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
It's a car they should have done from the beginning.
That's correct. So now you have that technology that you wanted, but in the Cadillac. And oh, by the way, this isn't car of the year. The beautiful little ATS, that little hot rod. It's really a great little car.
Fabulous.
People that have driven the Cadillac
And I'm
car
one
of
of
the
them.
year.
I did the launch for it. We went down to racetrack in Atlanta, and we were all prepared, every journalist, to say, wow, this is a really nice Cadillac. And what we said at the end of it was, this is a really nice car.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you folks that are just saying, man, I wish the domestic would make something as cool as my BMW 3 Series.
It's every bit as good. Both engines, the turbo 2-liter and the V6.
Great fuel economy,
Wonderful.
handling, brakes, road
You
feel.
can take it to the track and drive it home.
Hooray for America. But speaking of our competitors, we've got some other little upstart companies that are really giving us a pain in the neck. Let's go check those out too.
Sure.
Okay, we talked about, Chris, large sedans. We talked about everybody wants to be in this family sedan, this premium sedan business. Looked at
Well,
the
these are the
beautiful
guys who got into it with the
Well,
Genesis. They scared everybody with that car.
Hyundai comes in with this today. Kind of a lot of people are blown away by this. Now, this is a rear drive platform.
Yes, the
This is
Genesis platform.
with a big
V8
engine,
power.
V8 power. It's a big beast. And as this gentleman will let us see, this beautiful, this grill work here is excuse me, sir. This is reminiscent of, to me, a lot of people think it's got real road presence, but to me, it looks a lot like the 1958 Edsel, Chris.
Looks like an Audi.
Okay, Chris says it looks like
Interpreted
an Audi.
by the Koreans,
Yeah,
but it looks like an Audi.
Now, folks, for years, Hyundai and Kia had very polarizing style and design. Their designs now are getting so good that their sales are just going through the roof. This car may be an exercise, I think, much like our Veloster friend over there, whose front end looks kind of nice, but the rear end is really a brother, I think, of the AMC Gremlin of the 70s.
Yeah.
That's if the car's a little bit chopped off. These are the kinds of polarizing designs that when you come out with a concept, right, Chris? A concept?
Absolute
Is it going to
concept.
look like this?
No.
Okay,
Well, Peter Schreier has just been named head of Hyundai and Kia design. He was head of Kia design before. So now he's going to look over this car as well. And remember, when he left Audi, he's the only person that ever left Audi of which the head of Audi said, we never should have let him go.
Now, this will be either proof of the pudding, or maybe it's something they'll have to go back and remake very quickly, like our friends over at Honda did.
Yeah.
Speaking of Honda, let's go check them out.
Sure.
Now we're over at the Honda stand. You know, we've been telling you about the Detroit Auto Show headlines are all performance cars like the Corvette. You know, we've got
Well,
great...
we know it's utilities.
We sure do, Chris. And even Honda comes out with now this little concept that a lot of people say, you know, the Honda Fit really wasn't a good fit for them. They need something that looks more stylish.
Well, but they needed something below the CRV.
Well, check this out, though.
So
I mean, this is very dynamic for Honda.
This is the new styling for Honda.
So on the
Much
Fit
more
platform,
dramatic.
and you're talking about a small utility 5-passenger maybe? Okay, with a hatch. Folks, new powertrains. This concept is, the idea here is, again, a small utility with great fuel economy, a lot of room where you can take the family in and out of, and this could be the future of the Honda style design, which is when Honda's
This works well. Ford will bring in the EcoSport.
I think you're right.
Chevrolet will bring in their small one. It's going to become a war.
This car will be a very special car to check out. But across the street here, we got another one to check out, another utility.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
go there. Over here at our beautiful stand at the Acura display, Chris, a new MDX, like they needed to have another MDX.
Oh, but they did.
Selling, so why did
They needed, because this is moving fast. It's moving very fast in the luxury market. The cadence has picked up a lot faster than it has been in the past. They needed to do this. They needed to get ahead of things like the MKC, all the other the ones that are coming into this market. They've got it. They had the lead in this sector. Now they got to get it back.
Right. So an all-new MDX. They won't show us the interior. Probably later on in the car show season, we'll see that. Very important vehicle for them because
lots of technology.
They've really had to play, after they set the pace, they had to play catch up with this vehicle. We're going to have to see if this redesign is different enough to really set them apart. But Chris,
there's something really different.
There's something really going to set the show apart. We've talked about utilities, we've talked about sedans, the headlines, but there's something that's actually coming in 2015 here at the 13 show. Let's go take a look at this killer of the show. Well, here we are. We've cruised the Detroit Auto Show here at Coble, and behind us is the star, the surprise star. We talked about trucks, Chris, but never did we talk about a 2015, a concept that we think is more than a concept.
It says Atlas, it should say F-150.
It's the next generation F-150, the thing that wasn't announced really until like a week before the car show came here. An all-new F-Series, lighter, more fuel efficient, a lot more cool features. They've got a tailgate that pops up and you can carry things through the center. They've got technology in this thing.
All sorts of active aero, and it's aluminum.
Now, they didn't mention that, but Chris has kind of spilled the beans on the next generation F-Series. We're going to have a lot more coming up about this truck, because as you know, as truck sales go, so go Detroit, so goes Ford. This is the
most important vehicle for Ford Motor Company, most important vehicle for the industry.
This is the star that nobody really talked about. So car of the year, truck of the year, whatever. This is the baby we had to watch. So I hope you really enjoyed our cruise through the Detroit Auto Show here at Coble. Bottom line is, folks, you can see the cars, you can read the spin, you can see all the stuff on television. But Chris, thank you for taking your years of experience to put these cars into context. So when you come down to the auto show, or when you see and talk about the cars we showed you on these two-part series, don't forget to check the first part of Cars in Context at the auto show. You'll have everything you need to know about what's happening in the industry today. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to tune in to us next time on another edition of Cars in Context. This has been Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com. Chris, great job.
You're welcome, John.
I'm John Clor, your host, and don't forget, until next time, remember, knowledge is power. See you then.